James Bond was known to be a fan of the martini. And before you say it, he only ordered the Vesper martini once in the novels, but gin or vodka martinis were on his menu a lot more often. And since he was also a big fan of sparkling wine, I think he'd love what we're making today, a sparkling dry martini with a special garnish. We're not going to be carbonating the whole martini cocktail. We're not barbarians after all. I again partnered with FIOL Prosecco to show you another great way to use sparkling wine to elevate your cocktail game. So we'll create a fortified vermouth base using gin and various botanicals, then adding FIOL Prosecco as the wine component, with bubbles as a bonus. This sparkling dry vermouth will then be used as an ingredient in a dry martini, a reverse dry martini. See what I did there? That's called a callback. That's different to a call to action, which is me reminding you to subscribe below and turn on notifications for all future videos. That way you'll always know when it's cocktail time. Using sparkling wine in cocktails can be easy. Make a spritz and call it a day, right? But if you want to highlight its tasting notes and keep its delicate qualities, there's a bit more to it than that. So before we make our sparkling dry vermouth, let's quickly go over how to approach flavor pairing in something like FIOL Prosecco. Their extra dry Prosecco has 4 main tasting notes: fruity, citrusy, floral, and herbal, with each group containing certain notes like pear, lemon, acacia, and Mediterranean herbs. You can usually find very specific tasting notes on the brand's website for most of your cocktail ingredients. So the simplest way to elevate an ingredient in a cocktail is to add something that elevates one of those notes, or an entire group. For example, using acacia honey and jasmine green tea in our vermouth base to elevate the floral tasting notes of FIOL, lemon and orange peels to bring out the citrus notes, and so on. Another way is to find complementing flavors of one of the flavor notes you're working with. I've mentioned useful resources for that a few times on the channel, one of them being the Flavor Metrics book, which I'll link in the description. And a third option is when you combine both of the first two, so using a direct connection and a complementary pairing. We did that with a sparkling vermouth a few months ago, and we'll do it again with dry vermouth. This is what you'll need to make it. For the dry vermouth fortification base, we'll use 8.5 ounce or 255 ml of gin, 1.5 ounce or 45 ml of brine from pickled pearl onions, 4 grams each of fresh lemon and orange peels, 0.3 grams of dried chamomile, 0.16 gram of dried mint tea, half a gram of dried basil, half a gram of jasmine green tea, 20 gram of acacia honey, and 0.4 gram of wormwood as the bittering agent, a key ingredient in vermouth. I'll use a sous vide cooker to infuse our gin with all the flavoring agents. But as I've shown in the latest Cocktail Hacks episode, there's a workaround if you don't have a sous vide cooker or a vacuum sealer. So start adding ingredients into the sous vide bag. The gin I'm using sits at 46% ABV or 92 proof, which is good for extraction and to bump up the ABV level of the final product. The brine is something that pairs naturally with the martini and our garnish. Plus, it's something you'll otherwise probably throw away. Fresh lemon and orange peels will enhance the citrusy notes. I'll just cut them up a bit first. Dried basil and mint tea are there for the herbal notes. Jasmine green tea pearls, which I'll crush lightly with a mortar and pestle first. And dried chamomile will both elevate the floral notes. Acacia honey will help with that as well, but also provide some sweetness. To balance that and provide vermouth's dryness, we also need wormwood, which gives vermouth its name. Vacuum seal the bag with a double seal as always, and place it in the sous vide bath set to 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Leave this to cook for 2 hours. But you can of course give the bag a little shake and a turn in between, to make sure everyone is getting to know each other in there. After 2 hours, transfer the bag into an ice bath to chill everything, especially the alcohol, before you cut open the bag and strain out all the solids. I'm using a coffee filter, but a cloth filter would work as well. With that, we have our first part of the cocktail, the dry vermouth base. To make dry vermouth, you then just mix this base with Prosecco in a 1:4 ratio, into a glass if you want to try it, or if you're making a single cocktail. Or right into our FIOL bottle. Pour out 150 ml of Prosecco, pour in 150 ml of our dry vermouth base, seal with a sparkling wine stopper, and gently turn. We created a wonderful sparkling dry vermouth, with wonderful citrus and floral notes. It will really work great in a bubbly martini. The base will keep indefinitely, but it's better to keep it in the fridge so it's always chilled when you need it. If you premix your sparkling dry vermouth, you should use it within a few days to keep the bubbles alive and well. So now we have the main ingredients for our martini, but we also already have the special garnish, baby blue onions. These were made with blue spirulina and a nitrous infusion using an easy siphon. I have another garnishes focused episode in mind, and this one will be featured for sure. For now, feel free to use a regular pickled pearl onion. So with that little tease, let's make the sparkling martini, and even with the episode's intro. This will not be a shaken martini. We'll make this partially in the mixing glass, and add Prosecco in the glass. I'm starting with a chilled mixing glass, into which I'm adding 1 1/4 ounce or 37.5 ml of a London dry gin. Next, half an ounce or 50 ml of the dry vermouth base. We are of course not adding Prosecco yet, because we're not going to be stirring the bubbles away. But to keep it closer to a dry martini, I'll also add 1 dash of orange bitters, which will complement the citrus notes of FIOL as well. And to enhance all of the flavors we're elevating in this cocktail, I'm adding 2 drops of 20% saline solution. Now add plenty of ice and stir to mix, chill and dilute the ingredients. Pour our martini into a well-chilled Nikola glass. We still need to add our sparkling ingredient, and as I showed in the first cocktail hacks episode, use a scale if you want to be precise with bubbly ingredients, 60 grams of FIOL Prosecco. This will mix itself in, so we can just add the garnish, a baby blue onion. So this is actually a cross between a dry and a Gibson sparkling martini. But what does it taste like? It's delicate, dry, herbal and citrusy. With a dry, briny finish, it really walks the line between the Gibson and a dry martini. The bubbles just make it more fun, and if you want another pairing, this is a perfect cocktail to pair with oysters. With that, we've made it to the bottom of the glass. Post the bubble emoji to let me know you've made it all the way to the end of this sparkling episode. If you'd like to learn even more about how I approach flavor pairings, I'll talk about other examples and cocktails I've created in my masterclass titled Mastering Bubbles, in partnership with FIOL Prosecco, which I do in bars around the world. So make sure to follow me and FIOL on Instagram if you'd like to see what places we hit next. But for everyone that tunes in to Cocktail Time every week, thank you, and I'll see you next week. Cheers!